It started with a single, slurred question at that birthday dinner. The kind of upscale place in Chicago's Gold Coast where the valet pretends not to notice the tension radiating from your table. My mother, Laura, glass of Cabernet trembling in her hand, looked at me with those bloodshot eyes and whispered, "Do you still think I tucked away that $250,000 from your dad for your rainy days?" The words hung in the air like smoke from a hidden fire. And in that instant, the fragile scaffold of my life, the one I'd built on grit and quiet endurance, began to crack. I froze, fork midway to my mouth, while my stepfather Mark cleared his throat awkwardly, and my stepsister Sophie glanced up from her phone, her perfectly manicured nails pausing mid-scroll. The restaurant buzzed around us, oblivious servers weaving through tables laden with prime cuts and artisanal sides. But our world had narrowed to that question, pregnant with 2 decades of unspoken rot. My name is Anna Thompson, 29, scraping by as an administrative assistant at a mid-sized marketing firm in the Loop, where the days blurred into endless spreadsheets and coffee runs for bosses who barely knew my name. I'd clawed my way there from nothing. Or so I'd convinced myself, nights studying online courses between shifts at a greasy spoon diner, weekends folding laundry for extra cash, all while telling myself that hard work was the American dream in action. But that night, Laura's words peeled back the illusion, revealing the rot beneath. 20 years ago, when I was 9, my parents' marriage imploded. Dad, Robert, packed up for Hong Kong to chase his tech startup dreams, remarrying a venture capitalist type before the ink dried on the divorce papers. Mom picked up the pieces, or pretended to, meeting Mark when I was 11. We became this patchwork family in a cramped walk-up in Wrigleyville, where the L train rattled the windows and dreams felt as distant as the skyline. Those early years replayed in my mind like a faded home movie, each frame laced with the quiet ache of want. The apartment smelled of cheap detergent and takeout noodles, our staple because ramen was on sale at the corner bodega. I watched classmates flaunt new sneakers and gaming consoles while I mended holes in my hand-me-downs, pretending it built character. By 14, I was bussing tables at a neighborhood pub, fibbing about my age to pocket tips in a coffee can under my bed. Every Friday, Laura would perch at the kitchen table, hand outstretched. "Family first. Anna," she'd say, her voice a mix of weariness and command. As my crumpled bills vanished into her purse for bills, she claimed, for keeping the heat on through brutal Chicago winters. Mark lounged in his faded armchair, cracking open another beer, muttering about the job market while ESPN blared. And Sophie, Mark's daughter from his messy first marriage, lived in a parallel universe under the same roof, violin lessons, a sleek laptop for her sweet 16, a ski trip to Aspen with her private school crowd while I covered her chores to pick up overtime. Her mom's alimony covers it, Laura would snap when I'd muster the courage to question the disparity, her eyes narrowing like I'd accused her of favoritism. I swallowed it. Hook, line, and sinker, why'd out the woman who'd raised me alone, the one who'd hug me after a long shift and murmur, "Someday, kiddo, you'll see how much I gave up for us." College? It hovered like a mirage, dismissed with a wave. "That's a trap. Anna. Bootstrap it, night classes. Save what you can." So I did. Graduating high school with honors only to dive into the workforce. Temping by day, chipping away at an online associate's degree by night. One module at a time over 7 grueling years. Pride swelled in me with each small win, a solo lease on a shoebox studio in Logan Square, a beat-up Honda that didn't stall at lights, the luxury of organic apples instead of dented cans. Friends admired my resilience. "You're a fighter, Anna." Doing it all solo. Solo. That word had armored me. shielding the quiet shame of never asking Dad for help. His sparse emails from Hong Kong growing colder until they stopped altogether by my 18th birthday. But breadcrumbs of doubt had littered my path, ignored in the fog of loyalty. Laura's evasive glances when I'd daydream about scholarships. Mark's smug chuckles as I handed over my paychecks. Sophie's casual boasts about her blessed life on social media. They'd pilfered more than cash, they'd eroded my trust. My bond with Dad. My sense of worth. All while I thanked them for the scraps. That birthday dinner for Laura's 55th was meant to be a truce. A rare gathering at a ritzy spot overlooking Michigan Avenue, where bottled water cost more than my lunch budget. I'd hesitated accepting the invite. The air between us thick with unspoken resentments. But her pleading voicemail tugged at old strings. Sophie arrived tipsy. Giggling at memes, Mark droned on about stock tips. Laura nursed her wine in silence. Her face etched with something darker than age. Midway through the entrees, my modest salmon dwarfed by Sophie's filet mignon, Laura's gaze locked on mine. "Anna," she slurred, voice slicing through Mark's ramble. "Do you still think I tucked away that $250,000 from your dad for your rainy days?" Silence descended like a guillotine. Sophie's smirk faded. Mark's knife clattered. "What $250,000? I managed, my pulse thundering. Laura blinked, regret flickering. But the alcohol had unlocked the vault. "From Robert. For your college. Your start in life. You think I saved it, don't you? Like some secret nest egg." Mark hissed her name. But I was already rising, palms slamming the table. "Explain." Now, the confession tumbled out in fragments. Dad's wire transfer before fleeing to Hong Kong. Meant solely for me, Laura's management of it, the emergencies that drained it dry. The room spun, their house upgrades. Sophie's Ivy League prep courses. Mark's entrepreneurial flops, all funded by my future. Rage simmered. Not explosive yet, but a slow boil that seared my insides. I didn't scream, instead. I pulled out my phone, hit record, and demanded details. Every penny, every lie, and how you'll repay it. They squirmed, recession excuses. Medical bills, none mine. Investments gone south. But the truth clawed free. They'd siphoned it for Sophie's whims while I toiled, convincing me Dad had washed his hands clean. I left that night with a recording hotter than forged steel, the betrayal gnawing at my core like acid. Sleep evaded me instead. I paced my dim studio, memories twisting into accusations. The isolation they'd engineered, the gaslighting that made me doubt my own worth. It wasn't just theft, it was psychological warfare, leaving scars deeper than any bank statement. The obsession took root that night, transforming my cramped apartment into a fortress of folders and timelines. I started with Dad's old divorce lawyer, Evelyn Chang, still sharp in her Lincoln Park office despite nearing retirement. Her sigh over the phone was heavy. "I've waited for this call." Days later, I pored over yellowed papers, the $250,000 transfer to Laura Jenkins, memoed Anna Thompson Education Fund, a notarized pact binding it to my future. No formal trust. Laura had insisted on control. Dad had trusted her maternal instincts. Mistake. Armed with dates and accounts, I battled bureaucracy, archived bank records, credit pulls, public filings. Fees drained my savings, but each revelation fueled the fire. Withdrawals began months after the deposit. $12,000 for home repairs, their kitchen remodel. $10,000 for family needs, Sophie's orthodontia and summer camp. By my 13th birthday. Half vanished by 16. When I juggled school and shifts, the well was dry. Cross-referencing timelines was damning. Mark's failed app startup registered the week of a $20,000 pull. Sophie's enrollment at a posh academy coinciding with another chunk. Her ancient Instagram posts, private jets to Miami. Captions thanking mom and dad for the dream vacation aligned with my diner overtime logs. When Laura claimed we were one bill from eviction. Emails. Hacked from Laura's outdated account. Password. Sophie's birth date. Predictable. Were the gut punch, Mark urging. Tell her Robert ghosted us financially. She resents him already. Laura replying. The funds low, Anna's paycheck helped stretch it. They'd not only embezzled, they'd weaponized my pain. Severing dad ties to cloak their greed. I retched over the sink. The betrayal visceral. A poison I'd unknowingly swallowed for years. Reaching dad was agony, a stilted video call across time zones. His face lined with regret. I thought you chose independence. Anna. Laura said you rejected the money. Lies upon lies. I'm fixing this, I vowed. Voice steel. Legally. Every cent. He paused. Then, whatever you need, docs. Testimony. All of it. His files flooded my inbox. Intercepted letters. Ignored queries about my fund usage. The total? Not just $250,000. Interest compounded over 20 years pushed it to $600,000. Plus my contributions from teen wages. Roughly $40,000 funneled into their pockets. But the intangibles haunted, shattered paternal bonds. Deferred dreams. Chronic fatigue from survival mode. They'd traded my potential for Sophie's selfies in Europe. Memories assaulted me in waves. Each reframed as evidence of their cruelty. At 15. Haggling for school supplies at a dollar store while Sophie unboxed her first iPad. Laura's lecture, Life's Not Fair. Anna, earn your keep. At 17. Bypassing college fairs. Tears hidden as Sophie gushed about her acceptance to Northwestern. Tuition covered by my trust. My high school graduation call from dad about the arrangements. I'd snapped. Keep your petty cash, Laura eavesdropping with approval. She'd orchestrated my rage. Her poison dripping slow. Journal entries from those years stung, gave Laura my whole check, $312. Dad doesn't care. Why fight? The manipulation was masterful. They'd made me complicit in my own impoverishment. Grateful for the cage they'd built. I texted Laura, repayment plan in 1 week. Or court. Her calls went unanswered. Sunday. I chose neutral ground, a dim bistro in River North. They arrived unified. Laura hollow-eyed. Mark in a ill-fitting suit. Sophie scrolling defiantly. I laid out the evidence like a prosecutor's exhibit, transfers. Statements. Posts. Emails. This was my future, you sold it for Sophie's semesters abroad. Denials crumbled. Laura wept. Mark blustered. Sophie denied knowledge until her texts flashed. Anna's clueless about the inheritance. More shopping for me. I slid the demand. $600,000 total. Or charges fraud. Theft. Emotional distress. Your family, Laura pleaded. Were, I corrected. Ice in my veins. Mothers protect. Not plunder. I left them shell-shocked. Rain soaking me outside. A baptism of reclaimed power. Hiring attorney Victoria Hale. A shark in Chicago's legal waters specializing in fiduciary breaches. Sealed their fate. This is textbook abuse, she growled. Eyeing my dossier. We'll eviscerate them. No response in 72 hours. We filed Thompson v. Jenkins et al. Fraud. Embezzlement. Unjust enrichment. Discovery unearthed horrors. Mark's crypto gambles. $30,000 lost. Laura's spa retreats. $25,000. Sophie's grad school tuition. Northwestern MBA. $80,000. Text from Sophie. Mom.